Hello, I'm Svitek, 360 Creative Coach, and this episode is dedicated to a very simple yet very powerful message, and that is never let someone else's negligence become your emergency. So what do I mean by this? Especially like in the entertainment business, we get a lot of last minute like, hey, we need to do this and it needs to be done right away. And it's like, whoa. It's already 11:30 at night. You're calling me out of the blue. Whoa. And all of a sudden, someone else's negligence of like thinking forward, being forward thinking now becomes your problem. And all of a sudden it's 10:30 at night and you gotta edit a piece of video or change some text, upload this, whatever the case may be, all right? And this is kind of a tricky thing because a lot of times your job sort of depends on it and things like that. But I think this is where having a boundaries exercise. And, in that sense, I think, part of it is also being proactive on your end. So, for example, in my life, anytime I need to do something for a client, and in order to meet deadlines, like I always, if I'm missing something, I always make sure to check in advance of when I would need it and be like, hey, just as a reminder, I'm going to need, X, Y, and Z assets in order to meet this deadline. Because then if they don't deliver that to me by that certain time, they can't be upset because I have let it known, I have put it out there, and their negligence, now if all of a sudden like, oh, sorry, we didn't get it to you, and and whatever else. Now, again, it's a very fine line because then people are like, oh, well, others would be far more willing to work. I think it's this inherent thing, like because we have our cell phones, we can be on, an accessible 24/7, especially in this global world where, we can be working with people from different time zones and things like that. But it really, for your own mental health and whatever else, I can't stress enough, it is important that you create various boundaries in this way. And in fact, Tim Ferriss's The 4-Hour Workweek, ironically actually has really good tips on how to make this. But overall, part of it, how you can get there is, by being a trustworthy employee, by being always, during the times that you are supposed to be working, like you're always on it, creative, willing to do X, Y, and Z. But then it's like, if like it, and maybe, sometimes like you do account for like sometimes there are true emergencies. But, if all of a sudden it starts turning into a reoccurring thing, that's someone else's negligence. It cannot become your emergency because then other people are dictating your time instead of you dictating it, and that's really not fair. Now, mind you, I'm talking mainly, again, I think you kind of ultimately have to know what constitutes as negligence versus emergency. Like if you're I don't know if you're like an on-call, if your job has like an on-call and you're on call, well then obviously you can't be upset if someone calls you while you're quote unquote on call because that's part of your job description, right? So, you have to also kind of, have some common sense about any of this. But, I can certainly kind of talk about this in various lengths, but it's far more easier for me to answer these various questions if I know certain specifics. One of the inherent problems that I have when I make these videos is like I can only really give generalizations because then the actual specifics of how to apply this, to me, I always do case by case, right? Every person is individual, every job is individual, every project is individual, and I really, I think, for better or worse, I look at it as a strength of mine, like by looking at things in that way and giving them very specific attention. Nothing for me is cookie cutter. So I'm hesitant to give more information, but by all means, if you have any questions or thoughts of your own, comment down below or hit me up on social media and I'd be happy to, give you specific guidance if that's what you require in this. And I think that would be actually really beneficial. certainly for me, like I love doing that, and I would love to help you through that process. If you think someone else might benefit from seeing this or hearing this, by all means, please share with them. And if you enjoy the various lessons, well, if you enjoyed this lesson, I do other lessons basically daily that I think you'll also enjoy. So feel free to subscribe and follow if you haven't already done so. That way you get the various content that I put out right when I put it out. And yeah, thank you overall, and I hope to see you next time.